During the 2020 elections, President Donald J. Trump Jr.'s campaign moved towards invalidating or trying to illegitimize the electoral process. Part of this movement to devalue the results from the current elections came from Rudolph W. Giuliani, President Trump's personal attorney. Defendant Giuliani tried to accuse my client, Dominion Voting Systems, of being directly responsible and one of the causes for there being fraudulent events in direct relations towards the election, towards the results of the election. The direct cause of a multitude of illegal behaviors, not only towards my client, but towards the United States as a nation in general. Going through multitude of the examples that we can give, it's the Capitol uprising, the multitude of protests and riots that came to be from the claims, meaning that Rudolph Giuliani's claims were immediately responsible for harm to the country. Now, we can tell that these claims are defamation because not only are they unfounded claims that have no real basis or evidence that can be proven to be true, they are also known to be false in case of claiming that Dominion's voting system, my client, comes from Venezuela, China, or the Soviet Union, meaning that information that is known to be possible to acquire easily its origin was purposely misused to create a fear-mongering narrative. Not only that, we can see that these claims came with actual real harm, not only to the nation and individual people, but to the company as a business, seeing as Rudolph Giuliani made no effort in hiding that these claims of fraudulence for voting dominions were immediately used as advertisement or source of sponsorships for his podcast Common Sense, meaning that Rudolph Giuliani not only spread misinformation knowingly, but he directly used it as a source of financial and social harm, not only towards my client, but toward the rest of the nation. Giuliani was just exercising his First Amendment right of freedom of speech. We have to understand that this speech that he gave, this opinion as it may be framed, was directly caused of a violent uprising on January the 6th in the capital of the United States, meaning that this is no longer an opinion that was just given to criticize what he sees as flaws in the process. These were actual harmful statements that had direct consequence towards the peace of the nation. Therefore, if there's no way for the eyes of the law to consider his speech freedom to be protected under freedom of speech, because it is a statement that immediately caused harm towards the United States as a nation. And in a more direct way towards my client, it may be said that there is no way that my client has the legal foundation to build a case of defamation, seeing as they're a company. But we have to remember that in multiple cases it's been clarified and proven that under the United States Constitution, a corporation may be found to suffer from claims of defamation once there's actual economic loss towards its business. Meaning, if Giuliani's statement were found to be a direct cause of economical loss, it is a harmful defamation using mistruth. Therefore, it is defamation towards my client. And as we've already covered and understood, Giuliani used his platform, the Common Sense podcast, to repeatedly and as Common Sense, Giuliani alleged that Dominion was a risk towards the election, and then used that to jump into a sponsorship from other cybersecurity companies that work in the same field as my client, meaning that Rudy Giuliani's actions were immediately followed by an economic loss of clients and revenue. There is no way that this cannot be seen as a harm towards the company as an individual and as a business. In the end, Rudy Giuliani knowingly spread misinformation that was easily corroborated, easily comprovable to be false, while at the same time spreading this misinformation in such a way that it has direct violent consequences, all the while using it as a source of revenue that takes away from my clients. Your Honor, there is no way to say this, but that the defendant Rudy Giuliani is guilty of defamation and harm towards my client.